You're energetic today, John.
I'm gonna be out of sleep for a change, so. That's all it is in the world. I went to sleep at 9 o'clock and I was up by 6.
Good morning. I'd like to call to order the meeting of the Preston County Commission. Today is February 9th, 2023, and we will begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let the record show that all three commissioners are present: Commissioner Smith, Commissioner Thomas, Commissioner Stone. Do we have anyone that is signed up to be recognized from the public this morning?
Thanks. So.
Okay. Take a review of the bills.
I would move that we approve the bills that have been properly presented.
I will second it.
It's been properly moved and seconded to approve the bills as they have been properly presented. Commissioner Thomas?
Yes.
Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
Yes. We have nothing from our assessor's office this morning, no tax corrections or apportionments, and no scheduled appointments. So let's go straight into an approval of the minutes.
At this time, I'd like to move that we approve the minutes for January 17th and the 25th.
I will second that.
It's been properly moved and seconded to approve the minutes for January 17th and 25th, 2023. Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas?
Yes.
Yes. Estate settlements.
I would like to move that we approve the state settlement list from January 24th, 2023 through January 30th, 2023 for Linda Beth Day and Wendy Webb.
I will second that.
It's been properly moved and seconded to approve the estate settlement list January 24th through January 30th, 2023 for Day and Webb. Commissioner Thomas?
Yes.
Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
Yes.
This time, I'd like to dispense with the reading of the proceedings of vacation and accept them in the record January 26th through February 1st.
I would like to second that.
It's been properly moved and seconded to dispense with the readings of the proceedings in vacation and enter them into record for January 26th through February 1st, 2023. Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas?
Yes.
Yes. We have nothing under the fiduciary commissioner report today. Brings us to our old business. Do we have anything to discuss for the EMS ordinance?
We're just still having our work session next week,
Yes,
correct?
the 14th, and we have an EMS their advisory meeting
Tonight.
tonight.
Just
And
tonight.
what time is that again?
6:30.
That I believe is from 5 to 6.
It was bumped down because of our,
Oh, the EMS meeting, yes.
I have it in my
That's,
it's just a little later because of, we have to
yes,
sit as
we're
a
doing
board,
6:30, I
board
believe.
equalization, okay. Yes, it
I will
should
not
be
be able to make it.
6:30.
I have another meeting right after that.
Okay, all right. We know Hunter is going for sure. I will either be there or be virtual.
Well, the good thing is I've been sending the minutes, and I think
Right.
I have I've been reading this, so I've had some good information here, and sometimes I catch stuff in there that they write down, and otherwise I miss when I'm listening.
Yes. Okay, next up, we have ARPA funding, and then we have a discussion listed for town of Brewston. I just want to throw this out real quick. They did get back with a update. Hunter has explained to us that there is a phase 1 and a phase 2 of the project.
Well, so originally, when they filled out the application, they got a little bit confused and under committed. They put, what was it, 18,000?
18,000, yeah.
Well, that's just because they're putting 18,000 into some of the final touches after.
Oh, after
phase
this
one
part's
or something.
done.
Yeah,
This is
Yeah.
phase 1.
yeah, so they have a phase 2, but they don't even have a bid on it, they're doing everything themselves
Okay.
on phase too.
Gotcha.
That's just like guardrails, fencing, stuff like that.
Right, okay.
So, that's
They
why
just
they got,
need to
that's why they got
complete
confused, and then, they cleaned that up, where they're just asking for 24,947.
Okay.
So with that, part of the request, I'm glad that they cleaned that up and verified that, but like as far as the phase 1 and the phase 2 goes, do they have a quote or an estimate of what the cost will be for phase 2? Did they have an estimate? Where, you said that we have a copy of the estimate. I couldn't find it, Hunter,
For phase 1?
for phase 1.
We do have that, yes.
Yeah, we have that.
I was emailed to, Joe had emailed to us originally, but we had that.
I have phase 1, I can dig.
Yes, that's what we were looking at.
Yeah, I would like to do that, but I don't know if it's necessary to do it today, because I came across an article where there was like $568 million committed to bridges in the state. That the state, even if they didn't own those, would commit money to municipalities to fix bridges that they own. Well, when I talked with a gentleman yesterday, down with the economic development at the state level, because that is who is handling those funds. He had pulled up the Mill Street area there and was looking at it. He said he needed a week to verify a couple things. I'm not saying that it's gonna be where that money can come from, because according to him, he's thinking it is not a bridge.
Right.
Because it has to be, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly from the phone conversation, it was like a 20-foot span. It had to be considered a bridge.
Right.
But I'm wondering if it could be considered a bridge, and if they would put a bridge there versus it just being a culvert.
Well, here's kind of the problem with that, is, not only are they replacing the culvert, they're extending it out for 50.
They're actually doing the
Well,
rest
probably
of
100 feet
the culvert in, they're actually, I mean, they're having that culvert.
Sure.
Then they're doing the concrete pad and
Yes.
everything.
But then their culvert.
But they're also taking it along that entire trench to try to clean that
It
out.
needs dredged, it looks like a
Yeah.
little bit.
Right.
Well,
That's
they're
what they're
just
doing.
gonna culvert the whole creek, because it's actually culverted all the way from Family Dollar
Mhm.
under the road, under the corner of that house right there, and it pops out.
Yeah, it's
right
gonna be
there.
a 40-foot long length of culverts is what they're doing. So,
Okay, well, I'm not against helping with some funding,
I have no problem helping with this part of it. They said they'll take care of the second phase themselves, from what you're saying, so they will not obviously be asking for any more money.
did you find that?
So,
On the way.
the bid,
Good.
oh, I can get that.
Do we have a bid for the second phase?
No, not for the
That
second phase.
phase,
They
they're just
never did
doing it
that.
all themselves.
Because
Like,
they didn't, they said they were.
I
they're saying they're gonna do
clarified that last
themselves.
night, they're doing it all themselves, so they're not.
They won't have a second phase.
They're just gonna do it over time, so the
Right.
guardrail, the fencing, everything like that.
So they're gonna take care of it from their funding. Gotcha.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it will probably be people like me and other community members doing a lot.
There,
of
yeah, I'm sure that's part of, yeah, a lot of it's gonna have that.
volunteer work. If you could find that real quick, Dawn.
Hold on, I'm looking.
I have.
He sent it to us a while back, and I just gotta find it again.
Is it-
I wasn't expecting to
It was
need it, so
beginning
I
of
just forgot.
November.
Okay,
It was way back, yeah, it was way back when, so. Yeah, it's a while ago. There it is, here we go. All right, well, I'm just gonna forward it to you, that way you have it
okay.
immediately.
Go into that drive and clean up some things and get it filed under projects maybe.
Yeah.
I have a hard time.
It'd be a little easier.
Oops. Okay, right.
Okay, you have it, then I'll send it to you, Hunter, I got you here, it's not cooperating, but real quick, I'll send it.
All right.
Okay, you should have it too, Hunter.
I should have it too.
Yeah, I just emailed it to you, so.
Oh, there we go.
And there it is, because it was away, so. 40-foot culvert backfill the pipe with crushed stone, yeah.
That's the estimate
Yeah,
is
and then they're gonna pour the
3
pad.
pretzels.
Yep.
And they had two other that came in.
Yeah, they had the other two that were a little higher. So
They're on the
they were
request.
Yeah, and they're on there too, so.
Yeah, through Dave Pretzel. Dave Pretzel. Forty foot of pipe
Right,
back.
and the bridge, yeah, the bridge is, the bridge
Bridge.
span, it looks like it's 20 feet, they said, from this. And they're gonna, that's part of that pad.
4 feet.
Yep.
Inches thick.
Yeah, 26-inch deep, yep. And it's gonna sit on top of the culvert, so, and then it's gonna backfill along the culvert, so.
The only other thing that concerns me slightly is that the amount of weight that travels across a culvert for emergency vehicles, is that the reason the road started to collapse to begin with, because of
Well,
what's going back and forth?
they have all their state permitting too for this culvert, so it will be able to take that weight. That initial culvert there is just rusted, it's probably been there for 50 years.
Well, and that's just me.
And then the initial culvert, there was an issue, it wasn't wide enough to handle the water load of the creek. So that's why it started, if you look in the
It's probably
pictures.
ran
that's why
around it, cause.
Yeah,
it
it's
would-
ran around it.
Yeah, it's washed it out. And then
See.
it's
Yeah,
I
I
just-
see what I mean.
exasperated the problem, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's what caused it, like,
And that, this
They
picture
couldn't
right
handle all
here
that
is
water.
where,
So the culvert that they're putting in is a better culvert than what is already there?
yeah, a way bigger, higher grade.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot bigger, so they should be able to have more throughput.
I just don't wanna put some money into something that's not gonna withstand the
Yeah.
traffic that's,
And then if you look at this picture right here, this is, back behind the house,
Right.
this is where it pops out.
Mhm.
What happens is that fills up, that creek floods, because it can't fit through the culvert, and that's why there's all that
Yeah.
erosion in there. Oh, we do. Any other questions, Samantha?
no, if you're committed that it's gonna hold up to the wear and tear of the heavy fire trucks and the heavy traffic across there, then,
Yeah, they're,
Yeah, I can't
Ground-
see him not having looked at this, and especially with the pad is.
and they're breaking ground ready, they have all their permitting ready to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I guess with that, I would like to move to award American Rescue Plan Act funding to the town of Preston for the, Mill Street Culvert Project in the amount of $24,947. This award is contingent upon the town of Preston meeting all the requirements set forth by the commission to receive the funding.
I will second that.
been properly moved and seconded to award ARPA funds to the town of Brewston in the amount of $24,947 to repair the culvert in town, contingent upon meeting the requirements set forth by the Preston County Commission. Commissioner Thomas,
Yes?
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
yes. All right.
Okay.
Goes along. New business, amended fire department reimbursement fee ordinance. We have our first reading today of that. If you wanna,
Got it.
You do?
Not here.
Right, the way I've read back into things, all you need today is to pass the first reading in title only.
Right.
To waive the full reading of the measure.
Yep. Yeah, you gave us a copy. Okay, at this time, I'd like to, no, what, I just lost my train of thought. All right. I move that we read this order in title only, and this ordinance to take effect, and it is for reauthorizing volunteer Preston fire companies to charge reasonable reimbursement fees.
I would like to second that.
Been properly moved and seconded to have the first reading of the reauthorizing volunteer Preston County Fire Companies to charge reasonable reimbursement fees. Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas?
Yes.
Yes. First reading acknowledged.
First reading, and with that, we will have 2 weeks of publication. And then on the February 28th meeting, we will have scheduled a public hearing. We are accepting written comments before then. And if anyone wants to show up that day, of course, you can attend, and then we can work toward a final vote on at that same night.
And if anyone is unaware of what we're actually doing there was an ordinance that was approved in 2004 by the Preston County Commission authorizing a $500 amount that fire departments could charge when they respond to different accidents and
Well,
different things.
Up to five.
Up to 500. And we were approached by the Preston County Fire Association. It can, by state code, be up to $1,500 instead of $500.
I think initially when they did the 500 in 2004, that was the.
Exactly,
That
that was the maximum, and
Yes.
West Virginia, West
I don't think
legislature
it
changed
to
it.
1,500 until recently in the last couple sessions.
And we were asked, we don't have, many of our fire departments do not bill, but Preston has expressed some interest. They do a lot of interstate calls and things that
A
take
lot
up
of-
a lot
a
of
lot of-
manpower and.
Well, some of this
equipment.
takes into
Yeah,
our
a lot of
hazmat and
that.
stuff like that, so I mean, and then,
And I think eventually for volunteer fire departments to be able to stay open, they're all gonna have to go eventually.
So we are just updating really our ordinance to follow along with what the state code allows. So there you have it. Oh, moving along. Do we have anything from our facilities manager today?
We do.
Perfect.
If it pleases the commissioners, I would like to give an update on the, first off, the security measures in the annex and in the courthouse.
Yeah.
As the commissioners requested, they wanted a review of the security in the courthouse annex and the courthouse. And we very quickly got on that. And in the annex, the panic buttons was tested and every one of them was passed and everybody got a report. And we found that we needed to add panic buttons. So also last week, I went to the courthouse and I checked the panic button system in the courthouse and all but one passed. And it was found during the test that there needs to be additional panic buttons added to the courthouse as well. So as the commissioners wanted a very quick review of the security camera system, that we all found out very quickly in the incident that there was places in the annex that could not be solved on the cameras. So very quickly, the sales manager from Brings Home, Frank Danko, come down last week and did a camera assessment. And he concluded after his assessment that in fact, it would work out great if we was to add 10 cameras and 14 panic buttons. And I can go over, if it pleases the commission really quickly, what he suggested that we add. He said in the tax office, 1 camera and 3 panics. And I believe that was the clerk's office. Not, the tax office seemed to be very well covered with the panics and the cameras. The health department, 2 cameras and 2 panics. They currently have 1 at the reception at Miss Brenda's desk. The prosecuting attorney, they were good with the cameras, but they requested 3 panics. So as you all quickly saw, the north staircase was a big situation with no cameras. They advised that you would add 2 elevator foyers on the first, the basement, and the third. You cannot tell what's going on, whether they came in, went in the elevator, or which way they went. So 2 for the elevator foyers. The assessor's office was 2 cameras and 2 panics to add. The commissioner's lobby, which is out front of your all's office, would be 1 camera. And then he added the 4 panics to the courthouse. And that total, if it was decided, would be 10,000. I have that on this paper.
And
It's under the.
That total without tax would be $10,067.76. So if the commissioners have no objections,
I have a question real quick. So did he do a security camera evaluation on the courthouse too?
I'm sorry, sir.
Did he do a security camera needs assessment on the courthouse too?
We did.
And he found that none needed added?
So far, we're in really good shape, because as you all know,
We did that upgrade a couple
Yes,
years
sir.
ago,
Yes,
so
sir.
that, you
Okay,
all
just-
care of
just
that.
making sure.
it always remains to be said, a lot of hard work has went into the security of all these buildings. You look at the courthouse, there is a lot of cameras.
Right.
There's the state-of-the-art metal detector, and now it detects your cell phones as you pass through it. There's a lot of security measures that have been put into place at all the
Yeah,
buildings.
there's some courthouses in the state that don't even have metal detectors,
I
so.
believe that. So yes, to your point, Commissioner Collins, I think that as we did the security assessment, that there is no one that said that they, other than the folks that didn't have a panic button, for whatever reason in the past, it was requested. In fact, at the time, they did not have a panic button. So of course, they did not get one because they didn't want one. So now they will, in fact, all have a panic button. And they all pass, so.
Great job.
Okay, perfect. So, this is under the threshold. We do not have to bid this.
That is correct.
So at this time, I would entertain a motion
Can
to.
I take a look at the?
And we will forward a copy of all of that to all of you. And I agree with Commissioner Smith. There's no use to waste trees when you all have all these electronic devices. We will in fact forward you a copy.
Thank you.
We'll get Miss Kathy a copy, and of course, Miss Dee Dee a copy.
Once we get everything going, if you could, send out an email to the elected officials notifying them of the changes that are coming with cameras and panic buttons to their office, just so they can relay that mission.
That way they know
message.
when it's happening too, so they,
So,
you know,
so
when somebody came in your office, put a
Commissioner
camera.
Stone, along those lines, so everybody that had a test got a copy of the complete test of their building. So they will, and not only did we test the panic buttons in both buildings, we went to every department head and went over the test to assure them that the panic buttons actually worked. Now, like, for example, in probation, she wanted them relabeled, in which we can definitely do that, because now some offices used to be something else, is now in
There were
probation.
community
So-
correction
So
at
we
one point in time.
So to everybody's point now, when the panic is pushed, we will know after upgrading, the description exactly where to go.
Yeah, what happened is community corrections was in part of the courthouse originally. And now that there's more probation officers, they moved over into the old community corrections area.
So it's a very good point that they would be, reassigned exactly who they are and which
Yeah.
office and what in fact the
That
office
shouldn't be
is.
too terribly hard.
So we'll definitely get that list upgraded. We were very happy, I'm sure we all was very happy that all the panic buttons work in both buildings except for one. That's an amazing test because,
And it was Jim Roots, right?
yes,
The front desk.
and it was Miss Ann Armstrong and Miss Amy Collier that did not have one. And we will add one in Lisa Leishman's new office because previously it was a copy.
Yeah.
So she will in fact also have a panic button. Now, I teased the Honorable Judge Schaefer. He has 3 in his office. So he is a very protective fellow, which is good, so. But he actually, and during the test, he has 3 in his office.
So I appreciate your hard work, Joe, in getting that taken care of promptly.
So after the test, of the panic and after the evaluation of the cameras, I think that we are moving quickly in the right direction. In the courthouse, along the lines of the security upgrade and assessment, it was found that where you enter the roof in the courthouse, it was a much similar situation to the annex, but they had doors at the top of the drop ceiling, and it was about 4 feet to the roof. So this week I have secured the doors so that nobody, for hopefully no reason, can easily get into the attic space of the courthouse. So that space has been locked and secured, and of course, the keys put in the proper place that are, of course, locked up.
And that's also in a back room and not out
Exactly,
in the
exactly.
hallway, yeah.
And it may turn out that with the switching of the elected official's office, that may in fact become Lisa Leishman's office, and that would be much better to have her in there as opposed to the plaintiff in a case. So that may work out great in everybody's favor to in fact switch Ms. Leishman from the copy room to that office. And then the conference room would become the copy room. So it may work in everybody's favor. How often does that actually happen? So we like it, we'll take it when it does happen.
I mean, we thought never, but.
So we are trying to quickly, along the maintenance lines, we're moving along as the request comes in, to keep things up and going.
Where are we at on the ceiling in the prosecutor's office?
We was hoping to do it this week while our commissioners was gone, and Mr. Holder, of course, was gone, but it turned out there was stuff come up every single hour, every single day, and we could not in fact do it. I would love to get it done, and it is a top priority, but with it not being an emergency or risk to safety or anything like that, we'll have to, but we will in fact, hopefully tomorrow, we'll get it this week scheduled.
All right. At this time, I'd like to make a motion that we approve and authorize the president to sign this system modification authorization for $10,000 and $10,067.76.
I would like to second that motion.
It's been properly moved and seconded to accept and authorize the president to sign this form for the new cameras and panic buttons with monotronics. Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
Commissioner Thomas?
Yes.
Yes.
Really quickly, commissioners, if I may give you a quick update on the sheriff's office and where we're at. So yesterday, the estimator came from Panhandle along with the remediation guy from Panhandle, and his name is Tim Capps. And of course, as you all know, they've done a great job in the remediation. But now, luckily, it is time to move on to the next step. With the remediation, it's not entirely done. There will be folks here probably for the better part of next week. In their review, they found things that continue to be cleaned up and sanitized. So yesterday, the estimator from Panhandle come, and basically his job is to get a figure on what it would cost to put it back the way it was before you all received the damage. So he did in fact go through with a fine-tooth comb and write down every single thing the way it was. Of course, now he will be tasked with finding the price of how much it will be to put all that stuff back the way it was. And as the commission has said, they may want to make some changes before they put it back. But this step was just to figure out the price of what the insurance would in fact owe the commission. So now they have said that it's possible that the insurance company will send its own estimator, that they may not take the results firsthand of the, of the remediation company. So you all could expect that now the insurance company will in fact send an estimator. Now I know the commission wants this process to go very quickly, and it seems through this part it's been really, really slow to us. But we are trying very hard to move this process along, even get the sheriff or whatever decision is made. And on the lines of the sheriff's office, it was determined that the circuit judge, Judge Schaefer, and the magistrates definitely needed the holding cell to be opened back up.
Right.
So we, in fact, got a letter from Panhandle stating that the cells was cleaned and sanitized. And of course, the cleaning of Panhandle does not suit Miss Robin. So of course, now she has taken up the torch and she has went over it with a fine tooth comb as well. So we anticipate that the holding cell will be open, in fact, even today, and remaining until what is decided to do with the sheriff's office.
Please
So-
thank her for that.
We're waiting for that estimate on the repair work, and then after that, we can decide on which direction we want to take.
Exactly, exactly. And as you all have a lot of tough decisions, that will be also one of your tough decisions, how to proceed forward, for the best of the sheriff's department, the best of the county, and the best of the
We need
citizens.
that, we
It will
need
be-
that final number
Yeah.
before we do anything. And then, anything on the new employee hire?
We are very happy to report that we have had lots of applicants, and that is always a good thing.
Well, we're accepting applications till when?
Technically, it will be February 20th.
Okay.
But the office is closed that day, so if anyone wants to put in an application in person, it should be to us by the preceding Friday. Otherwise, if it's online, it will be through the 20th. I believe we have half a dozen, perhaps 7 applications so far.
Perfect.
Great,
So Joe Halker has been very kind to forward the applicants to me, and it's been very interesting to look over applicants and their qualifications and skills and years of experience, so
Perfect.
we're very hopeful,
All
so,
right.
We need to get you that help.
yeah, so. All right, well, thank you all so very much.
Thank
She'll
you,
do,
Joe.
we'll need a
Oh,
copy of that.
yeah, I'm gonna hang out back here with Mr. Seifold.
All right, perfect. All right, moving on to our coordinators report.
Well, as you can see, I do have the Preston County Historical Society request
Yes.
on my agenda, but it appears with Mr. Seifold being here, that there is further discussion, so, Hunter, are you?
Yeah. Yeah.
So-
So yeah, well, you guys know, we looked, or you guys have looked through it before, the, Preston County Historical Society is requesting 10,000 to, add to another 10,000 that you guys contributed 7,500, and then Buck Jennings, Delegate Buck Jennings, allotted another 25,000, so they need 20,000 in a match for a $20,000 grant.
Right.
And that's through the State Division of Culture and History.
Yes. Well,
Now, have they, just out of curiosity, for my own curiosity,
I need to, oh, here it is.
some of the matching can be in-kind contribution, which means volunteer work. Has any of that possibly been added into the matching requirements? Because that would help, because a lot of people don't realize
Well, I
that
spent
volunteer stuff, at 29, almost $30 an hour, adds up over a little bit of time, so,
I spoke with Ms. Wolf and researched it myself, and I believe there is no in-kind donations or in-kind contributions for that
allowed?
allowed.
Okay.
Yes.
But it says right here, Hunter, I'm reading it. It says in eligible matching, cash prize community, in-kind or donated contributions. I'm reading it.
If the in-kind isn't the in-kind that we're thinking of,
Really? Because it
I
says, a person donating in-kind service will be assessed using current minimum wage rates unless the person donating in-kind services to a project demonstrates professional skills associated with the work performed. I mean, I'm reading
give me
this.
1 second here, I can pull this up.
That's why I'm like confused.
Basically,
I'm just asking a question. If there's no in-kind that's going to be done, that's fine. I just wanted to see, did anyone think about that? Because it can be added in
Arthur
there.
Del Heritage does it all the time.
Arthur Dale Heritage does it all the time. Rollsburg has done it. Other places have done it. That's why I'm saying,
PC Parks.
was this PC Park?
I'm not sure you can have any kind, this is the contractor coming in to do that brick work.
That's what I wanted to know. Because if there was something that could be done, then there's possibility. But if it's gonna be done by a certain contract, then that's, I understand that it's on the table. But I just wanted to see if that had been done, because it does say, because sometimes some organizations have had contractors volunteer part of their time. Exactly, well, when they ripped the roof off the pool here in Kingwood, same thing. So that, you know what I mean?
This only allows up to 25% to be in
Right,
contribution.
I know that. Well, I know it wouldn't be the whole thing, but I was just asking, was that a possibility? Was that out there?
I think there's gonna be additional costs in addition to whatever the contractor charges. Because electric company, Mon Power has to be involved, and when it gets here, there's more work I think could be done. Local people will have to raise finances for that.
I personally don't have an issue earmarking the funding for this, because obviously the funding is contingent upon the grant
Right.
being awarded to you.
Right.
And you guys need that earmark funding before that batch before you,
Can submit your,
submit your application.
so, I'll go ahead, I'll make the motion.
Oh, I don't have a problem with it. I just was asking the question because I could see that was part of
We can do this in contributions. There's money
Yeah,
in
I got
contributions, so that we can go ahead, so.
I would like to move that we earmark $10,000 from contributions for a grant for the Preston County Historical Society, contingent on if they receive the grant or not.
I will second that.
Okay, it's been properly moved and seconded to earmark $10,000 to be matching funds to the Preston County Historical Society for their building preservation that they're working on, getting it to stop leaking. Of course, the earmark is contingent upon they receiving the grant award. Also, I'd like to add to that we probably should do a letter of
Of
support to
support,
go
yeah.
along with that.
Yeah, that way they can have it when they send the
Ready
grant
to go with the
application.
grant
Mhm.
application and showing the commitment from the county commission
Good,
to
good,
that.
I have that written down.
And, let's see, all right, Commissioner Thomas,
Yes,
Commissioner Smith?
Yes,
Yes,
Thank you.
you're welcome. All right, moving along.
Concerning the website and the online payment update.
Yes.
We are working toward the online payment system. Hope that we will make it by the March 1st deadline. In the last couple of trips to Charleston, talking with other administrators and such, this is something that a lot of the counties are working toward. But as some of the other administrators pointed out, it hasn't been so much of a struggle in that the state law does not call for full integration of the payment system into the site. Essentially, all we have to do is to provide a link from our website to the online payment system.
right.
So really just comes down to getting with the vendor that IT Mindshare is recommending, seeing if others want in on that, and then setting it up with the tax office for how we would receive and distribute those funds.
Okay.
So we're zipping toward it, but I think we can meet it in time.
I have one other thought back to the Historical Society. If you could, when looking at the matching stuff, because we earmarked the 10,000 that's needed, but if 5,000 of that could be in kind, probably some of the hours committed just to get to this point of could possibly be an in-kind match that they'll accept. So, just a thought.
And one of the matters I have, there are 2 personnel matters that need to be discussed, so I would request the commissioners call for an executive session on those.
Okay, I'm going to go into an executive session for personnel.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to go into executive session on personnel. Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
Well, Commissioner Stone, yes. Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Thomas?
Yes.
We're going into executive session. If you guys could just wait in the foyer for us while we take care of our executive session, that would be wonderful. Thank you,
My
Mr.
legs are feeling a whole lot better.
I'm glad.
I could not get out of bed.